PGA Nation, we are back. And we are continuing the Sweet 16, the last leg of Golf Madness before we reach the Elite Eight. And I'll tell you what, it's been electric. We've had some not only exciting actual golf tournaments. Congratulations, Michael Thorbjornsen, on an electric finish. And congratulations, Spencer, for having the 50-1 outright ticket last week. Spence, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing really well. As you said, this has been an electric couple of weeks throughout this contest to get to this point. And that Thorbjornsen finish actually ended up affecting one of the contests that we had last week. Brad Thomas, with that victory, ended up surpassing Phil Stifel's lineup. So, you know, it's, as we say every single episode, Joel, it's survive in advance. It doesn't matter if it's done from having the winner. It doesn't matter if it's done having a lineup that goes 2 of 6. If you can beat the person in front of you, you move on to the next round, and we're going to have 4 really highly touted matchups today to be able to go through for all the viewers.
This Golf Madness idea has worked really well. Everyone we've had on it has been fantastic, but the creme has risen to the top. We've had some excellent drafts, some great content going out, and tonight is not going to slow us down. We are bringing back the big guns for the Sweet 16 to see who will advance to the Elite Eight. And tonight we have Dustin Swedelson advancing after he told us last time he wasn't going to. He didn't know what he was doing yet. Here you are. Dustin, how you doing tonight?
I'm thrilled to be here, but am I the lowest projected seed to still be alive?
Is this your strategy? Just keep bringing yourself down. You're going to get all the pressure off, and then you win. I see it.
1, I don't watch golf. 2, I don't follow golf. But, like, I'll bet on 7, 8, 9, 10 events this year. I'll monitor them. That's kind of been my vibe. I've been getting into it. This contest certainly helped it. But I'm pretty sure I was, like, bottom 3 seeded people in the entire event, and here we are.
Dustin, I have some bad news for you. Your opponent right now is lower seeded than you are.
I was like, that was going to be my card. He stole it. He's already coming with the fire. I see. That's all right.
All these pompous golf people thought they were better than us. It turns out we can just show up into their world and dominate. Let's go.
AK dismantled me. I'm going to put that on record. The reason why I'm not sitting here today is because of AK.
Well, Dustin, we have some bad news for you. AK has experience with the greatest of upsets, as he was the one who defeated Michigan from Appalachian State years ago. So he's been here before. He knows the slipper is going to fit.
Shout out to Armani Edwards in the big house. I'll never forget it.
Dude, Armani, what a guy, man. What a guy. He was a special talent for sure.
For sure.
Yeah, I mean, hey, man, this has been a lot of fun to watch these matchups and everything has been put together. And I love golf DFS. Like I've been playing it for years. But you know, the worst news for you is that I'm a North Carolina guy. This tournament's in North Carolina, home field advantage. I didn't want to do that to you right out of the gate, and Ryan Gerard's talking about cookout. I don't know if you've ever had cookout or ever seen a cookout.
I have.
Okay.
Strong burgers.
So, yep. His order was terrible, but he still, shout out to him for shouting out cookout, and I'm sure he doesn't eat.
We got to stay on this for a minute. I didn't see it. What was his order?
Quesadilla, chicken nuggets, seasoned fries, Oreo milkshake, and then I think a hot dog was his alternate. And
wait, don't they have like great onion rings?
Yes.
How does he not have onion rings on there?
I don't know. Back in my day, it was the Cajun Chick-fil-A sandwich. You get the nuggets, you get the seasoned fries, you get a huge sweet tea, and you don't even mess with the milkshakes because they're not milkshakes. They're ice cream treats from Cookout. Okay, you have to eat it with a spoon. A milkshake you drink through a straw. Thank you. Case closed.
Well, let me ask you this. Does that then eliminate Ryan Gerard from your player pool before his bad decision making?
I'm not going to spoil that. Okay. Nice try though. That was very nice.
That's fair. I'm not going to give you a shot, Joey. I get it. All right. Well, listen, the Wyndham Championship. We got a big draft coming up. I like these types of tournaments, right? This is not your full JV tournament, but it's definitely a more watered down event, which I think you can definitely find an edge if you're doing your research, doing your homework. Tonight, we have 4 head-to-head drafts coming at you. So, as we saw last week when we did this, there was a lot of overlap. A lot of the same guys were drafted over the 4 drafts. There were some really unique plays. So we'll see which kind of strategy works out. For tonight, we have 4 head-to-head, so we got to get the draft order set. You guys can pick, or we're going to spin the wheel as we always do for you guys to decide where you want to draft this evening. AK, Dustin, we will go. Who should we spin? Oh, we'll spin first to see where you guys will choose. Dustin, where do you want to be? In the 1 or 2 slot tonight?
I want to be in the 1 spot.
All right.
I've been the 2 spot before. No problem here. I have a little, I don't think I have a strategy, but I've just been.
Me neither. Don't worry.
But, I mean, I do have a strategy, but I've always played these head-to-heads. I don't really, the way I do things is just a little different, I guess. I need dudes who are going to make the cut, who are going to keep playing for a long time. That's a little peek behind my curtain. I've been taking heavy hitters, but I don't know. As you get into this, I guess you have to get more risky. I guess we'll find out today, won't we?
Well, I mean, I think it's a really astute point, and I think it's something we usually advise our listeners to weekly. It's, what players you play is very much so dependent on the type of tournament you're playing. Obviously, you're drafting for a head-to-head, one-on-one matchup, which would mean you'd probably want some safer plays. Whereas if you're playing in a big GPP, there probably are different targets you want to go after based on that tournament style. So I think that's a totally fair point. But unfortunately for you, AK, you will be picking second. So Dustin, with the first pick, you are on the clock and you can take any player you want.
Okay. The whole reason I decided on the first pick was because AK did not want to answer the Ryan Gerard question. Because Ryan Gerard was number 1 with a bullet on my board. And I know this is not conventional strategy here. I know people normally go for like the sneaky plays, the ones that save you money early on, so you have more flexibility later. But Ryan Gerard with a bullet was my number 1 guy. And when you revealed you were from North Carolina, that also had him going up to the top of my board even further. So we're going to go 9,300 Ryan Gerard, who I literally had never heard of until I researched this event, as the first pick for me today.
Ryan Gerard off the board. He makes terrible decisions ordering food, but much better decisions with his golf clubs. Will that pay off and get you a win? To be determined. All right, AK. I hope that wasn't your strategy because you're not going to be able to get him. Did you want Ryan Gerard?
I did want Ryan Gerard.
Wow.
Despite his cookout mishap, I still wanted him on the team, but that's okay. The guy that I'm gonna. Oh man, now you kind of put me in a pickle because he's on the board, but I still think we can do it. I think I'm gonna have to take my guy who's absolutely on fire, and that's Hideki Matsuyama. I love the way Hideki Matsuyama is playing golf right now. I just think he's 2 top 5s in a row. 2 top. I mean, he hasn't been outside. Now, I'm not even going to say it. Don't say it because you'll jinx it. So just leave it alone. We're going Hideki Matsuyama. If I say any more, he's going to jinx it. We're not going to even make the cut.
Well, I'll let you just move right on from it. You got Hideki off the board, but you get 2. So who's your next pick?
I'm going to have to go Ben Griffin. I like Ben Griffin. Look, him and Gerard are putting machines right now. So at this course specifically, you need to be good around the green, and you need to be able to putt, and you need to be accurate off the tee. So I wanted to have the dual North Carolina brotherhood, the Bash brothers, whatever you want to call them, Gerard and Griffin, but I'm going to have to settle. I'm going with Ben Griffin.
Yeah, 2 of the first 3 picks off the board are on my outright card in Ryan Gerard and Ben Griffin. The numbers have plummeted a little bit since Patrick Cantlay removed himself from the field. But look, I think this is a really strong start from both of you guys, regardless of whatever Dustin keeps saying that he doesn't know the rules and he doesn't know the players and all of that. I'm going to ask you still the question, Dustin. Were you considering Hideki? Were you considering Ben Griffin? If not, where are you going to go with your 2 picks?
Okay, so Hideki I have him tiered out. Hideki was in my second tier. I had 3 golfers in my first tier, and the other 2 were still there. Hideki was in that next group if I didn't get the guys that I wanted. So I'm going back to Old Faithful. He came through for me the last time that I took him. I had no idea that he had won the previous event, but he did well enough for me to win last time. And that's one of the straightest drivers on the tour. He finds fairways well, excellent on approach, former Wyndham champion. And everything I read was that past results at this course matter maybe more than anywhere else. Old buddy Aaron Rye at 8,800. You are pick numero dos.
Aaron Rye off the board. He has treated you well thus far in this tournament. Just stick with your guys. I like that. Now, past course history does mean a lot here, but there's guys that have a great history that are probably past their day. There's a famous, people used to call this the Webb Simpson tournament, but no one's playing Webb Simpson anymore. So that's interesting. But Aaron Rye is still playing well, so we're not going to compare him to Webb Simpson here. You got one more. About 7,900 left. And I do find interesting is it's only 2 picks, but you both started top of the board. So you're going to be in a similar range here moving forward. Where are you going with your third?
I'm going to go for a little bit of value now. I got 2 of my top 3. In fact, my third one in my first tier was Ben Griffin. So I got 2 out of my first 3 in the first tier. Got Gerard. I got Rye. I think now it's time to give myself a little bit of bankroll to play with later. And this guy was a runner-up in this event a few years ago. He has 2 other top 10s. He finished top 20 another time. Feels like his game with the irons and mid-iron play is going to be really successful this week. Solid with the Bermuda putting. Hits fairways. Give me at 7,700, Sung Jae Im.
Okay.
Was that somebody that was going to be on your board, AK?
He was teetering, but I did a couple of lineups earlier today, and I was just kind of playing around with some numbers, and he was in one of my lineup builds. He's in that range for me for sure, but I'm not going to tell you I was going to take in that range. But he's a good pick. I like him.
So I'm going to throw this out on the show, and I will leave it nameless, unlike Joel, who sometimes does seem to skew some of the results of what happens with Ryan Gerard and picks that come of the future. So I'm going to not mention a name other than Sung Jae Im, but, Dustin, I think you will be happy to hear that if you look at sharp movements at books that are respected, and that's the Circas of the world also out there. They're one of the 5 that I pull from. Sung Jae Im is one of the 5 sharpest players on the board this week. So, I think there's a lot to like about Sung Jae. My model's probably a little slow to move on him. But all of the metrics that you want to see from a movement standpoint seem to be checking all the boxes. So Sung Jae Im for DFS is going to be in my player pool this week. And I know there's rumblings from people that are watching, that are at the course, that are saying he's striking the ball really well. So that should be a good sign for what Sung Jae is bringing to the mix here.
He's been playing pretty well.
I knew everything you said, Spencer. That's why I took him. I knew all of that.
I know that deep down. I know this is a little bit of a cat and mouse game going on with you, Dustin.
All right, I feel good though. If you want to know where I'm at through 3 picks, this is mostly where I thought it was heading, and I feel good about my first 3 guys.
I think we have 5 players off the board right now that it looks good from both of the teams, and we'll see if that can continue with AK here. So as you get to the 302, give us the pick here first, and then we'll move on to the next one.
It's Cam Young. I don't normally do this. Right. I'm normally a pretty reserved guy when it comes to, not overshooting, but Cam Young won here last year. Right. And I think he's playing pretty good golf. So if I can have 3 guys that are playing some pretty damn good golf right now, I like it. Now, the turn pick, I'm going with a guy who's also been in playing pretty good here. Good course history. And that's Lucas Glover at 6,800.
I have a question for you, AK, because it's something that I feel like on this show has not happened very frequently, and it's going to happen more in head-to-head drafts, but even last week, we didn't really see it occur. That Cameron Young pick, Ben Griffin, Hideki Matsuyama, it immediately put you about $1,000 less per selection moving forward than Dustin. Do you think that there's any merit in getting yourself into a range where you know that you're picking freely, that you don't necessarily have to worry, and now you can kind of construct the lineup the way that you want? Or is this just purely the 3 guys at the top are who we want?
I don't think it was the 3 guys at the top. I think once Ryan Gerard got picked, I thought I was going to be able to walk out of there at least 1 or 2 out of the 3 of Matsuyama and Ben Griffin and Gerard. And then once I was like, I can't leave Cam Young up there. Cam Young's playing. I don't normally do that, but when we selected Gerard and Aaron Rye, who also had on there, I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to take Cameron Young, and that when you're doing a head-to-head, it's kind of like, okay, well, he's got some pretty good picks there. I'm not going to lie. So, but
yeah,
I'm like, I got to get some people who could score. I want people, I won't tip my hat, but maybe I'll explain it later. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much in some ranges where I've listed out some dudes, and I'm not going to reveal any more until I have to.
good strategy.
All right, Dustin, you're back on the clock here. You got 3. I think Spencer made a good point. It's interesting that you're now both drafting in different kind of areas of the board, which means there's a strategy here, and that is, if you are going to take another top level guy that kind of brings you back into his same tier, is that strategy to do that last? I don't know. I'm not trying to help you. Just throwing it out there that could potentially be a play. But without further ado, who do you have in mind?
Well, the strategy is the key for me here because there's a couple big guns that I want, but in order to afford them, I need to get my shorter guys, my cheaper guys out of the way because AK, with his average pick at 7,100 left, I want to make sure he doesn't snipe one of these guys that I'm looking at. So I am going to go value play number 1. We're going to look at Michael Kim here at 7,300.
That's my guy.
Michael Kim,
No,
on good form lately. Gains strokes on approach. He finds the greens often. Gives himself opportunities for birdies. We're going to see if the wedges and irons show up, and we're going to take old Michael Kim as a value at 7,300. That boosts my average for my final 2 picks.
My heart
to 8,450. And this is the dilemma I didn't think I was going to find myself in, where I could look if I wanted, depending on what I do here, I could get 2 8,400 guys, but that's not really my style. I'm a boomer bust guy. I go for it all. I'm big on taking chances. So I'm going to take another value play here. And with that, I'm going to set myself up to spend on whoever's left as a big gun remaining. The problem is, which one of my cheap plays do I like? We're going to look at debating between 2 guys. I think it's going to be, can I afford this guy?
I can't believe you just took Mike Kim, dude. That's our guy.
We're going to go cheap. JT Poston.
Oh, I love it. Hometown guy.
He's won the event before, and he's a birdie maker. I need him to show up for me when it matters, but now I got 9,500 left. I like the flexibility I have at the top of the board.
I don't know if you've made a pick yet, Dustin, that's not sharp in the market, so I'll just throw that out there. I know Michael Kim is sharp, JT Poston's sharp, Sungjae's very sharp, Rye sharp. I mean, you're kind of sharp across the board with it. Before you give us your pick, AK, talk a little bit about Michael Kim and how it was ripped away from you.
Dude, golly. I mean, it was going to be hard for me to make Michael Kim work, but I was going to try to do it because I was going to pick him, and then because the lineups I built have been a little different. You get doing this, and you're like, oh, wow, well, I wanted Michael Kim, but he's just playing so well. And he's one of our favorite golfers. All of the guys that we've interviewed are in this tournament. So it's Hubbard and Novak and Kim and Justin Lowers in there too. So, Mike Kim is just playing really good golf right now. I hate to see him collapse there at the end last week, but it's good to see him. He's really hitting the ball well. Like he's putting really well too. So that made me sad because I was going to try to make that work, but you just ripped my heart out. I also had JT. I didn't know if I'd be able to make JT Poston win, but he was in a different build that I had.
This makes me feel better though. Honestly, I know it doesn't make you feel better, but I feel better that you were thinking about guys that I didn't know existed on planet Earth until about an hour and a half ago.
Well, okay, you have 7,100 left for your last 2 picks on average. Not going to be able to take Michael Kim. Not going to be able to take JT Poston. You do, though, have 14,200 left for these 2 picks. Who are they going to be?
I think I'm going to go with a birdie guy, and I'm going to go with Soldier Boy himself, Kevin Yu. Okay. Birdie maker. Love that guy. And then my last pick, this is the one I've been really struggling with. Everything in my soul wants me to take Tony Finau, but I just don't think I can do it. So I think I'm going to roll with it. Echevarria. I like the way I think he's the way he's played here in the past. He's not playing too well right now, but I'm going to go ahead and take Echevarria. So
lock it in. Listen, I think you had a really solid build here. I think you have a really interesting lineup for head-to-head like cash game tournament. I think it's going to be a really good battle. But before we wrap up, Dustin, you got one more left. 9,500, so plenty to spend. How you rounding out the squad?
It actually lays out exactly how I need it. I got two of my guys in tier 1. I missed out on Ben Griffin. I got Ryan Gerard. They were my number 1 and 2 on the board. In tier 2, I did have Matsuyama number 1, but I really didn't want to have to go there. Tom Kim was my number 3, and I took him because the price made sense. But because I got Poston, because I got Michael Kim at the prices they are, I'm able to get another guy. 2 out of my 3 in tier 2. We're riding with Justin Thomas right now, 9,400. Great par 4 player, elite approach, plenty of birdies. If that putter gets hot, he's going to be very dangerous this weekend.
I think this is a really competitive draft.
Same.
I don't have a heavy lean myself. Being forced to pick one, ooh, I'm going to go with AK, but I think it's by inches. By inches. I like the top of your board, and I think you did well enough with your value plays that you got like safer picks. But that's why I'm leaning your pick. But I think Dustin's squad could do really well here. So this is going to be a nail biter.
I think just on my basic knowledge of where everything's at right now, if Michael Kim shows up for me and does better than the value, then that's my chance right there.
That will crush my soul. I hope you know that. Mike Kim was somebody that I wanted on the team, but what are you going to do? That's a good pick. I mean, it's a great pick. I can't be mad at that.
Spence, I know you didn't crunch the numbers, but eyeballing it, which lineup do you think your model prefers?
I think this is very 50-50. I don't know. I mean, I have outrights on both of their teams. I have exposure to both of their teams in other markets. I don't think either one of them has a bad player necessarily. To be different, even though I seem to be the one, Joel, that keeps taking money on all these contests, and we'll talk about it on the next one that's coming in. And Brian, who's in the chat right now, has thrown out a little bit of a parlay. Didn't want this matchup for whatever reason, but the next 3 we will get action on. Just to be different for the sake of the show, I will say, Dustin, I will run numbers and I'll let everybody know tomorrow. I think this is very 50-50. I think both guys did a great job.
Well, smash the like button, follow along. We have a great matchup ahead this week. Before we get you guys out of here, we thank you for your time. You both are fantastic. I wish you both luck for advancing to the next round. But Dustin, we'll start with you. Tell everyone where they can find you and what's your favorite bet of the week.
All right, so you can find me on VSiN. I am on starting Sunday back to my old usual late night slot from 11 p.m. to 2 a.m. Eastern. That's on Sirius XM. It's on YouTube TV. We have our own app, radio affiliates everywhere. At Dustin Swedelson on X, Instagram, TikTok. My favorite bet of the week, it's going to be Aaron Rye. Aaron Rye is the guy I'm going to ride with. I'm going to ride with who brought me. That's the guy I love.
To win?
To win.
To win. Aaron Rye. I love it. AK, how about you? Where can we find you? What's your favorite bet of the week?
Oh, you can find us tomorrow night, actually, Wednesday night and Sunday nights. And then to football season, we moved to 3 nights during the week. We'll do a spread pick'em show on Saturday nights. So we do that 3 nights a week during football season. Podcast comes out every Monday and Thursday. And I'm, we're just type in the Millie Goats basically on every single social media, and then you'll find us. But yeah, my bet of the week, I'm going to go with a little Lucas Glover here, to make the top. What is it? Top 10 is plus 880, I think is what that is. Yeah. Top 10, Lucas Glover, book it. The guy, it's going to be hot. It's going to be humid. He's going to be sweating all over his trousers, his shirt. And you're going to be sitting there Sunday night being like, look at this wildebeest coming down 18 with a chance to make the top 10, and you're going to love it. And he's a South Carolina guy, so I think he's a Clemson dude, I think. So.
And it'll be questionable whether or not he keeps his shoes on. So there's all sorts of entertainment of just watching Lucas Glover walking around the golf course.
Top 10.
All right, fellas. Love it. You guys were fantastic. Good luck this week. Looking forward to seeing one of you back for the Elite Eight.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Later, boys.
Bye.
All right, Spence, clearing the board. We have a new draft ahead of us. a new head-to-head draft coming up. Who are we bringing on next?
Yeah, this is going to be a fun group. I talked about this last week where there were two matchups that ended up taking place where people advanced and are playing around earlier than they should have, just with the way that this played out. Everybody who follows golf content knows Tambo, PGA Tout. This is going to be a fun contest between the two, and I'm excited to see what they end up doing for this draft today, Joel.
I am excited as well. Tambo, how you doing tonight?
I'm good, boys. Can you hear me all right? I'm like way out of sorts here, but just getting back from a family vacation, so hopefully all works out.
Tout said that he's got you right where he wants you. He knew you'd be coming back. You're on the travel delay. He's like, this is exactly what I want. I got the home court advantage. Tout, how you feeling? Are you ready for the Sweet 16?
That's right. Yeah, I can't say I requested this matchup. I mean, Tambo's got to be. I know some people in the chat disagree, but I would put Tambo as the odds-on favorite in any sort of fantasy match. But we're gonna give it our best shot today. We're gonna give it the Frankie Fleetwood. We're gonna try our hardest. See what we can do.
Love that kid.
Great quote. Well, this is going to be an absolute legendary matchup either way. I'm excited to break it down, but let's spin the wheel and see who will be drafting first. All right, Tout, it's your choice. What slot do you want to be in?
I'll kick it off.
All right, Tout going in the 1 slot. Tambo, you'll be drafting second, but that just means you'll have 2 in a row. As we bring up the board, Tout, with the first overall pick, you're on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much of a savage Tambo is going to be. I've like tipped my cards. Everyone knows who I like this week. I put my guarantee out every single Wyndham Championship week. I got to put my chips on the table and put it all in on one guy.
BG.
So it's Ben Griffin week. Ben Griffin is winning this week. I'm happy to kick off the team, have him be the captain of the squad. It's great to know that you have the winner on your team because you can take more risks with the other 5 guys. So yeah, I've got to start with Ben Griffin.
Wow, Tambo, how do you feel about Tout calling his shot like he's Babe Ruth to start off the draft?
Oh, we knew this. I am a savage. I saw that post. I saw Joe follow up to it. Like if he went second here, instant BG off the board just because I was definitely doing that. So good on him. I definitely like Ben Griffin this week. I think that's a great pick, but we'll see how it shakes out here. I'm pretty excited. I'm going to get 2 picks here, right?
That's right.
Correct.
Okay, I got to think here. I had a plan for this, but then I'm kind of going against it already. But I'm going to go with I'm going to go with Tom Kim and Aaron Rye back to back.
Want to give a high-level 30-second take on both of those 2 players for the viewers of why you're taking them to start, Tambo?
It's really more about strategy, as as we just talked about. Like I'm not really playing for the picks and the plays. It's going to be way more of what I'm doing against one person. And for me, I thought about Cam Young in this spot. Obviously, Ben Griffin goes with Cam Young quite well on the other side. But for me, it was like, let's just get what I like on the board and the build that I'm going to go after. I think this will allow me to get more of my options that I want and still come away with a build I feel comfortable with head to head.
So really funny answer that you've given in the sense that is exactly what Derek Farnsworth, Noto, talked about last week. And I think there's probably a reason why you 2 are the top seeds in this contest. I know Farnsworth has been very humble in that he doesn't feel that should be the answer given. And it was given by AI. It was just barely done into the thing. But there is something to be said about safety is what ends up advancing you at the end of the day. And to beat safety, sometimes you need some upside. And I know Tout has Ben Griffin, who he's already declared to be the winner.
Yep.
I hope PGA Tout is correct on that. I have a Ben Griffin ticket myself. I would like to see him win, even though, as everybody saw, I do have a rooting interest right now in Tambo with the way the money has come in. So it's one of those situations where if you're going to win, Tout, please have it be with Ben Griffin that takes charge. You got 2 picks here, though. Where are you going with these next 2?
Yeah, I mean, we've got 2.5 Wyndham Championship winners off the board already. I'm already giving half a win to Ben Griffin because we know the next 4 days are going to go. My next couple picks, we got to be strategic about this too, right? So I'm trying to see how Tambo's laying the land on his squad, reshuffling some things on my end. But I'm going to start here with Emiliano Grillo. We got a Prove It week. We got Jeff Ogilvy watching with his full attention for Medina. And I think Emiliano Grillo is making a charge in the low 7,000s. There's not a ton of guys that I love down there, but I do love me some Grillo. It's a perfect course fit. We've always seen Grillo show up on the short positional courses, accuracy, bias courses. The putter is heating up. And he really profiles similarly for me as what Cameron Young and Aaron Rai did before their wins, where it wasn't a great putting season, but then all of a sudden, 1 to 2 months out at the end of the year, they start to figure it out with the putter. So I like a little putter trend going into this week with Grillo. And for my next pick, I'm going to go chase the Demon Deacon narrative. We've seen Cameron Young win here. We've seen Webb Simpson win here. Not a lot of people consider Alex Fitzpatrick to be a Wake Forest graduate, but he is. From this neck of the woods, has not played this course professionally, but probably has some familiarity with golf in this area, going to school in Winston-Salem, just down the road from Greensboro. So give me Alex Fitzpatrick at the turn.
Yeah, I think that makes sense to me. And the one thing I will add to this, just as I kick it over to you, Tambo. First of all, question about Grillo. Was he somebody that you were considering this week? I kind of how I've run numbers the last couple tournaments. I feel like he's somebody that the market continues to disrespect, whether that be with his DFS price or some of these outright numbers. I kind of saw a very similar trajectory in my model of what Tout talked about of a golfer that's trending in the right direction. Don't know if you were going to necessarily pick him for this player pool, but I think just as like an overarching theme of that question, would you agree with the Grillo take there?
Yeah, I think it's fine. I have no issues with Grillo, and I think kind of where Tout's going is like around that same area. So we're getting like some of these pivots. Like Grillo could crush the guy I'm about to take, as well as like Alex Fitzpatrick, who I do like on the board. When you go from picks and plays perspective, he's right there next to Aaron Rai, who should be more popular this week. The thing about the 7K range, though, is it's always so wide open when you have a field or an event like this. And we have such a wide 7K range. It's not like some of the majors we've seen this season with 5K ranges where there's only, 18 to 20 guys in the 7K range. So I'm fine with Grillo. I really like the Fitzpatrick pick. It just doesn't fit. It didn't fit what I was starting off with, but if I wasn't on Rai right there, I would have easily been on Fitzpatrick as well. So I like that call quite a bit.
Yeah, I would double down with the Fitzpatrick take. But if it's not Fitzpatrick, then that you can construct to this lineup. You guys are kind of in the same spot right now. Tout has 8,300 left per pick for his last 3. You have 8,000 for the next 4. You want to start us with that first one here at the 302?
Yeah, I'm going on brand. I got to stick with my guy. Some say I need a intervention, but I got to get Sung Jae in there still because 7,700 just flashed me a little bit, and he did. So I'm good with Sung Jae here. I like him in this spot, and the price is ridiculous for somebody of his talent level. I know there's stats and models, and people don't always love it as much, but yeah, I'm going to stick with my guy Sung Jae. So 7,700 fits the mold. And then the guy I was saying that was right next to Grillo, I actually think they'll both get boosted in ownership a little bit. They'll probably get a little action each, but I'm going to go to JT Poston here at 7,400, and that gives me options. I don't know where I'm landing, but it's not my turn anyway, so we'll find out. But it gives me a little bit of optionality here with the average just over, I think it's 8,400 or so. So we'll see.
Boom. Posted an aim off the board. I think what's interesting is, at least with some of these value plays, there's some overlap. I mean, we've seen Sung Jae go, we've seen Poston go, so we can see who some of the field likes. But I agree with these picks. I think these are some of the sharper moves, turning out to be what looks like will be a pretty tight competition again between Tout and Tambo, which we all expected. Tout, you're up here and you have 2. So if you look at the board, you guys are really in the same range with your remaining picks in the mid 8K range. A big value play or a high price golfer could steer that. But how are you going to get an edge here with the 401?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, a lot of ways I can go here. But as I said at the top of the show, drafting the winner allows me to take more risk. And I'm going to draft somebody that I'm pretty confident nobody else the rest of the night is going to pick. And I'm not going to advise that anybody else draft this recklessly in a 2-man contest. I know Tambo's going to roll his eyes at this type of strategy. It's going contrarian against the grain. Do not try this at home. Davis Chatfield
Wow.
at 6,300 is the fourth man on my squad. This is a specialist, a accuracy specialist. Man lives in the fairways. He's a poor man's Ben Coles. He is putting lights out. He's showing up at the end of the season, had an absolutely dreadful first 3 quarters to a season, but this last 2-month stretch, he's finally found it. He has absolutely no distance whatsoever. That's why he hasn't really been competing anywhere. Here's one of the few courses where distance matters. Nothing. So he will be playing from the fairways. His iron game is sharp. The putter looks good. Davis Chatfield 6,300 opens up so many possibilities with the rest of this roster. And so my second to last pick, I'm going to go Brian Harman. I'm going to go the Southern boy, the Bermuda specialist, the Open champion. His course history is very mixed here. One of the streakier iron players really on the PGA Tour. This guy will be lights out for 5 or 6 starts in a row and then awful for 5 or 6 weeks in a row. He really rides form. The form is good with the irons right now. You'd love to see that from Harman, and a good course fit as long as the rest of his game is there.
Well, this actually might surprise you, but Spencer actually loved Davis Chatfield a few weeks ago, turned me on to him. I've been playing him ever since. So I'm a Davis Chatfield guy. I love the pick. I am not surprised. 6,300, great value. Tambo, we'd love to get your take before you make your last 2 picks here. Was Davis Chatfield on your radar?
No, this guy is obviously a really good golfer. I got to see him live at the 3M as he was making his moves, but most tilting guy ever because he was the one hurting me in the Fantasy Golf World Championship in multiple contests as he continued doing his thing, but really fun to watch. Very good golfer. Heard some stories from people that were hanging around there that hung out with him before and went to dinner with him and played with them or saw him play at other events and that type of thing. And obviously a very good talent. So I don't hate the pick. Obviously it's an aggressive strategy, but even outside of the Ben Griffin jokes, the team is pretty stacked overall. So just having a guy like him to run it out, I'm kind of looking at the same thing, to be honest. I need somebody at 6,400. Maybe Tout can help me out here. If I get someone at 64 or 6,500, who would you roll with here?
Oh man, I mean, the reason I picked Chatfield is he's the only guy I really like deep down those waters. So
that's my issue.
I don't really recognize any names when we get that far down.
I was going to say maybe really aggressive would be to go Lipsky here. Just obviously the reason I'm talking about this is because Cam Young is still on the board, and I can just go get Cam Young and round it out and take on that risk. I already have a pretty balanced roster, but once you put him on the top, it's clutch. I'm like $100 away. The Alex Fitzpatrick one is coming back to haunt me right now as I talk through this live, because that's kind of where I need it. If I could get Alex Fitzpatrick, I could have landed with Meisner. I liked Harman better there too, by the way, but he has him as well. So that little combo pack I would have liked to have. Just trying to see if there's any, obviously working out of a different system here. I'm trying to look at this quickly, but I might have to go. Let me just see here. Who's at 74? Yeah, I think so. I'll give you my one just so it's there. I'm going to take Hideki off the board and then make my last pick. Now I land at 7,400 and I have more options. So
Hideki off the board, 7,400 to pick. While we give Tambo another minute to select his final pick, Tal, I'm just curious, and I know you'll reveal it soon, but Tambo obviously is not in the same salary range, so you're not really competing for the same guys. I assume you're taking Cam Young, but there could be Coven. So do you want to tell us early what your plans are?
Well, the strategy with not taking the high guy until the last pick was really to force a decision from Tambo. If he wasn't comfortable going in the 6Ks, he doesn't have to. But if he's not comfortable, if he didn't have a 6K guy, then I know I'm going to get my guy. So I will be taking someone up top there, obviously now knowing that Tambo's living in that low 7K for this last pick.
Yeah, and I could see the board. That's why I was immediately going to Cam Young, but you have Coven right there. So, you were going to be fine either way. You could leave the money. That's the thing about a head-to-head. I know everyone always like, oh, got to spend every dollar, but it's like Coven, Cam Young. I'm not saying they're the same, but it's, right in this type of field or tournament, especially head-to-head, it's definitely going to be fine. So I think he was in good shape either way. Really struggling because it's the same $100. Like I have so many more guys at 75, but I'm going to guys play. I'll just stay with it. See if he can stay a little hot. He was okay a couple weeks ago too when I was following him, but the Chris Kirk at 7,400 is who I'm going to round it out with.
I have a question for you, Tambo. If Tout would have given you a pick in that 6,400 range, not that you would have copied what Tout had said there, but was it a real option that you were considering going that route if he had thrown a name out there that you liked?
I'm with him. I don't really like anybody down there. And for the head-to-head, I wasn't necessary. I wanted just to see what he'd say. Maybe if he's very convincing. If you don't follow Tout stuff, I'm sure many do, especially watching him live right now. But like legit, the guy knows a lot. He knows what he's doing. There's no reason to pump him up. He's been doing it for a long time, reading his articles, always posting stuff, hitting winners, things like that. So to me, it was like, can he really sell me quick on this? Because then I can take it. He can have Koivu. We can call it a day. He couldn't quite get there, and I really didn't like anyone that much. I could see that he had Cam Young left on the board, like I mentioned, with the 10-4 up top. So for me, it was breaking out of my shell a little bit just to see what the other options were. I didn't really love them, but I do like Hideki quite a bit this week on DraftKings, specifically 9,500. So I was fine with him, and then there's way more options down below, but I just picked Kirk just to round it out. I think he's going to be fine. I mean, I saw him at the 3M. It looked like it was a little bit heavy with the putter, but then he backed it up again last week too. So I'll stay with him. I think he had a decent finish here last year also. So yeah, I'm just going to roll with this head-to-head, hope to get a 6-6 and, be able to overcome the eventual Ben Griffin win. That's really what it comes down to here.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. And at the end of the day, I think you explained that pretty eloquently. Like, Tout had Cameron Young, he had Jackson Koivu. It's not like you were going to remove one of those two options from the mix from him, even if you did go up there, unless you had a really strong take. And as you wrap this draft up, John, I mean, I assume the pick is probably Cameron Young, maybe a slight chance that it's Jackson Koivu. I would assume it's one of the two, though. Do you want to solidify that? And we will put that pick in of whichever the two it is.
Yeah, I would be happy with either, but I prefer Cameron Young. So I was building towards Cam Young. I think maybe, yeah, I truly, honestly don't like anybody else in the 6Ks besides Chatfield. If I had to pick one, maybe Silverman, who was one of the last men in. I forget who withdrew. He got in there. He's a good course fit. I might go there, but I wouldn't feel good about it. I prefer Cam Young here. I know Koivu's got a top 5 when he was an AM here before. Obviously, the man is hot and motivated. But Cam Young is an elite. He's a man amongst boys. He's 7 or 8 to 1 to win this tournament. Significantly favored. Like the disparity in Cameron Young's odds versus the disparity in his DK pricing is significantly different. So I think there's a lot of value on Cam Young's price here. Obviously the winner last year, I hired an Etsy witch last year to curse Cameron Young in the last round because I had Nico Echeverria at 100 to 1 in the final pairing. That did not work. It rebounded against me and it turned him into the greatest American golfer we have outside of Scottie Scheffler. So word to the wise, if you're watching this, do not resort to dark magic. It doesn't work. Just let the universe decide what's going to happen. So this week, hands off the wheel. We're still confident in Ben Griffin, but it's nice to have Griffin and Young both on the team.
Legitimate question for you, Tout. Was the witch's name Peren by any chance?
Oh, I don't. I would have to look back. I would. You know what? I could look back right now. I didn't leave any reviews. It didn't work. I don't want to ruin this witch's business. I certainly don't want to get on the bad side to put any juju out there on a witch. So I didn't leave any reviews for this witch. I have not contacted since. Let's see. I'll find it. Here it is. The Crimson Witchery.
That's not the one I used. I asked the question because I also resorted to things of that nature for this contest. I tried to get myself to advance. I think I put the curse on myself. I got myself eliminated in the first round. I'm here hosting the show now and interviewing you guys on it rather than competing. But yeah, I didn't necessarily have the luck that I was hoping for. Either AK, who drafted earlier, ended up getting himself through. My players, I wasn't even trying to get negative. I just asked for positive. I just asked for my guys to make a couple putts for once, and nobody could seem to drain one over the 4 days.
Yeah, I cast a curse of misfortune. It was like a harmless thing, but it was like, I hope he stubs his toe and for 24 hours does not recognize himself in the mirror. Didn't work. Didn't work. Wouldn't advise.
I'm offended because if you're going to guys go and hire witches to affect the king of the draft, you got to go for Gandalf. You got to go for the top. You guys go into some no-name people you're funding on the internet to try and affect king of the draft. You should have known that wasn't going to work. It's not going to influence what we're doing here.
Well,
Yeah, maybe that's the moral of this story.
Yeah.
Don't cheap out on your Etsy.
Exactly. You got to come from the top.
Yeah, I don't think my $5 ended up being worth it. The one thing I will say, John, is him not recognizing himself in the mirror maybe what actually ended up spawning on the victory of him winning. So I don't know. Like that maybe is what made him the greatest golfer of all time there for a second.
You guys are the two absolute legends of the space. We appreciate you guys coming on. I wish you both luck in the Sweet 16. One of you will be back and advance into the Elite Eight. Before we get you out of here, Tambo, tell everyone where they can find you and what's your favorite bet of the week.
Yeah, you can find me on X at Totag and Tambo, over at Ship It Nation, shipitnation.com, dfsmastermind.com if you want to learn to play the game a little bit better. And then if you guys want my bet of the week, it's probably the first guy I started with. I would go Tom Kim, 50. I think it was 50 something to 1 with 3 places on Bet365. So that's the bet there, Tom Kim.
Tom Kim. And Tout, I assume you already know who won the tournament, so I assume we know what your bet of the week is. But Tout, tell us, where can we find you and what's your favorite bet of the week?
Yeah, Ben Griffin, 29, 30 to 1. What can you get? Wire to wire. I'm going to go down those waters. I don't have odds for that yet. I'm going to find it. We'll do some dual forecasts. Griffin and some other guys I like this week. Haven't figured that out yet. But to start, anyone listening, just get involved. Get involved with the Ben Griffin campaign. Throw a few bucks on there. You won't regret it. Other than that, you can find me on X at PGA Tout. You can find my written work on lineups.com. I do a tournament preview of every Sunday, and a couple other articles throughout the week. And then the preferred lines with my co-host Joe Idone, who I believe is coming on right after me. That goes up Sunday nights. So that is all part of the Read the Line network. Hope you tune in.
Two absolute legends of the space. We appreciate you guys. We wish you both luck. We'll see one of you in a couple weeks.
Right on. Spencer, you going to get us those AI numbers?
I will. I will run it tomorrow. I will project it out. I'll get the picks there for everybody. I will say this though, Tambo. I don't know what my model's going to say, but Tout at the Wyndham. There's only a couple guarantees in life. That might be one of them.
That's true. If he rates out well with Chatfield, I'm absolutely dead.
Thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Man. Appreciate
Thank
you guys.
you, fellas.
Good luck, fellas.
Bye.
Yeah, later.
All right, Spence, we got 2 more matchups tonight. We are running a little behind time, so we're going to move a little quicker just to try and keep us on schedule. Spence, who's coming up next?
Yeah, we're going to have Joe Idone and Eric Cohen. I think both of these two guys, if you just look at the performances that they put together, obviously one of them did not win and the other one did, but I think Cohen put together maybe the best lineup for somebody who came in second. And Joe put together like a GPP winning lineup at the US Open, I believe it was, when Wyndham Clark went nearly wire to wire in that thing. So this is going to be a good battle.
We are bringing on 2 aces here. This is going to be another really good matchup. I guess we are in the Sweet 16, so there are certainly no cupcakes. But we can decide who is going to draft first in this next matchup. Eric, it is your choice. Are you going to go first or second? We got you on mute.
There we go. Be nice. I will go first, guys. Good to be on with you. And I'll take the first pick. Good to be on with Joe. You have 2 legends in the last draft, a legend here, and then this guy right here. So who knows?
Well, your score certainly said otherwise when you're heading into this round. Joe, you will be locked into the second pick. Eric, you wanted the first pick. Without further ado, you are on the clock.
So I believe, guys, that there are 10 players that can win this event based on this 5-year trend. The guys that have the last 5 winners of this event have 2 top 10 finishes in their most recent 5 events before the Wyndham Championship, and one of them being at least a top 5. So of those 10 guys, I'm going to try to draft 6 of them, and I'm going to start with Hideki Matsuyama. I mean, he's a guy that normally I will fade anytime that I can, but the current form is great. 2 top 15s in a row. Then he had T3 and T5. I think he is getting in winning form, and I wouldn't be shocked if he did it this week.
Hideki Matsuyama, first pick. And also, now we're in the third draft of the night, has been drafted in every draft thus far. So Hideki Matsuyama, definitely someone people are liking this week. Joe, you got 2 in a row here. Would you have taken Hideki Matsuyama if you could? And then who are your first 2 picks going to be?
Good evening, guys. Good luck to you as well, Eric. Yes, I probably would have at some point. He was the very first bet when John and I record like on Sunday night. Like the odds have been out for like an hour, and he was like the first name that both jumped off the board at us when he was still like 38 to 40 to 1. This was pre Cantlay withdrawal. So yes, Hideki was on my short list. I will say, I know we're running behind before we get into the picks, but I'm sitting here backstage, gentlemen, and I'm questioning some things because one of my best friends in Spencer, the guy I chose to co-host my podcast with, are both resorting to witchcraft on Craigslist. And I'm just wondering how I got myself in this mess with these guys. I ended date night early to be here, and I'm sitting here running through a lot of questions in my head. But nonetheless, excited. I hope it works out for you guys. Next time, hire a better witch. I'm going to go with Sung Jae Im, $7,700. Love Sung Jae here. Love his skill set. Like the upside at the price. I kind of am going to play some hits. I had a huge winning lineup at the Wyndham Championship, my biggest hit ever in DraftKings, and Sung Jae Im was a core component to that lineup. So I'm going to run back a little good juju and start with Sung Jae.
Sung Jae off the board. You have 2 here, but I will highlight, it does seem like we're getting some overlap in the field. The crowd tend to draft a lot of the same players. So we know who will be a little bit popular this week. But in addition to Sung Jae at 7,700, who you going with your second pick?
Listen, when my guy has this much conviction, I've got to ride with my guy Tout on this one. So I'm going to go Ben Griffin, take him off the board. I have him third, actually, in my rankings, right behind Cameron Young and Jackson Koivin. So the price point matches up with what his expectations are, and that means a heck of a lot to me. So I'm going to stack Sung Jae and Ben Griffin at the top.
I also have him third for whatever that's worth behind the same 2 guys that you mentioned. I think that's a really strong start from you of Sung Jae and Ben Griffin. Eric, you started with Hideki. You're going to have 2 picks here. First question before you give those, though. Any thoughts on Sung Jae and Ben Griffin? Were those 2 of the 10 guys that could win?
They are not. But Sung Jae Im is a guy that I gave out on my early wedge show a little bit earlier tonight for finishing positions. He cost me here 3 years ago when he melted down in the final round before Tom Kim went and got him. So I think he'll finish high. I think he was a very good pick by Joe. Ben Griffin, I picked last week, didn't make the cut. I'm bitter. Maybe he does great here. He's a North Carolina guy, but I'm bitter, so I was out on him.
Makes sense. Who are you going to go with then?
Okay, I'm going to go with a guy a little bit off the grid. I wonder if he's been drafted yet. I'm going with Blades Brown, guys. He has top 15 finishes in his last 4 PGA Tour events, his last 2 Korn Ferry events, T5 and T6. Every part of that game is dialed in. The ball striking is going to be there, but can he putt? I think the answer is yes. And at 7,800, I'm going to roll with it. Another guy, and I kind of swore the other week that I was not going to take him, but at 7,700, I'm going to take Ben Coles. Top 30 in every event he's played in since June, including a win on the Korn Ferry Tour. 95th in the FedEx Cup. He's going to have to put the pedal to the metal. Needs at least a 3rd place finish, if not higher, to advance to the playoffs. So I'm rolling with Coles here.
Strong start. Joel, you want to take it?
All right. Ben Coles has certainly been playing well. Interested to see where you go here, Joe. You got Ben Griffin and Sung Jae Im off the board. Plenty of money to spend. So you can kind of take this draft any direction you want to go from here. Where are you going to go with the 301?
Yeah, shout out Ben Coles. I love him this week. I wonder, Colton Oast had like a good comment at the end of last Sunday, I think in reference to like Michael Brennan and some of the other guys were like, you got to learn how to play on Sundays. Like these guys can be incredible players Monday through Saturday. And I think that's the next step for Coles, albeit at 7,700, doesn't need to win this tournament to pay it off. So good news for him. He's a great course fit. Good pick there. Was definitely on my board. I'm going to go ahead. I don't know about how sound this strategy is per se. in kind of where his picks are, but I'm going to just go ahead and knock my cheap player off the board, and I'm going to take Chandler Phillips at $6,600. There's been this trend, and John kind of brought it up, of looking at guys in recent years at the Wyndham who are playing well coming into the event, but missed the cut the week before. So you don't necessarily have to look one event back. You want to kind of look at 4. And Phillips has been doing that. Now, he missed the cut last week at +1 at the Rocket Classic, but 3 consecutive top 15s before that, including a 3rd place at the 3M Open. He's really good around the greens, can spike with the putter. I think it's a pretty good course fit for him. So I'm going to take him as my cheap guy here. Was he? I saw you make a little gesture there, Spence. Was he on your radar, this, just out of curiosity?
Yeah, he's the best value that I have in my model. And when John and Tambo were talking about $6,000 golfers and being down in that range, and they were a little bit lower than where Chandler Phillips would have been, this would be the guy for me. I ended up betting him last week to make the cut. I'm going to go right back into it. I think it's a really nice spot for him. And anybody who actually watched how he missed that cut, I understand, got off to a really bad start on Thursday, missed a handful of sub 5-foot putts when he was starting to move himself up the leaderboard and giving himself a chance to make the cut. And that's not the Chandler Phillips recipe. He's one of the best putters in the world. I think this is an ideal spot for him to be able to bounce back.
Love that. Okay. Glad you got my back on that one. The second guy on the board that I'm going to take is Aaron Rai at 8,800. I think did Tambo have Aaron Rai?
Tambo did have Aaron Rai.
Okay. Obviously past champion here, really struggling with the putter of late. So you've got to kind of overlook that. But historically, Donald Ross courses, just the way that they demand, put an emphasis on driving accuracy and really like playing with a different type of strategy. I think understanding when to be on the right side of the fairway to attack certain pins, that level of precision, I trust with them. Obviously some lineage there to Aronimink and the Donald Ross comps that he typically plays well on. I think that he's a fair price this week, and we're getting that because he hasn't putted well. Back on Bermuda this week, if that ticks up a little bit and he can putt even to the field, I think he can make a charge at this thing with the ball striking numbers. So Phillips, Rye, they're going to take care of the middle of my lineup.
Before really quickly, Joel, before we move on to Eric's pick, I want to ask you a question, Joe.
Yeah.
I don't want to just get off of the Blades Brown pick and there's not further discussion, because I do think Eric's correct. I don't know if very many people were 3 drafts in and this is the first time he's come off the board. I know we have limited data to be able to pull from him. What are your thoughts on Blades Brown? Because my model seems to think he's one of the better top 20 plays on the board. And if he's one of the better top 20 plays on the board, he's probably one of the better DFS plays on the board in this $7,000 range. Just curious if you shared a similar sentiment.
You know, I think that that's fair. I think that there is a ceiling level there with Blades Brown that probably someone like Chandler Phillips can't touch. But I also think that it is very rare that you see someone like Jackson Koiven that comes in immediately and consistently can like make cuts in top 20. There's going to be volatility with these rookies. It just takes time. And for me specifically, it's been hard to pinpoint what those events are until they have an established course fit profile. Now he's starting to get to the point where he's had enough professional starts to really dial in the right spots for him, but he's not the type of player that I think can play well when like week in, week out at this point. So it's about picking it, but certainly the upside is there at the price. And he's a guy that can top 5 this event.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. My model is so bullishly aggressive on him, and I kind of tend to agree that like we don't know exactly what he is at this point. And I haven't seen a lot of Blades Brown discussion, and I like seeing Eric on the same side of me on that one. There's probably some risk to it, but I like the pick for whatever that's worth. All right, Eric. So you have started with Hideki, Blades Brown, Ben Coles. You're both in the $8,000 range. You have 2 picks here. Give us your first one.
I mean, guys, I'm going up against one of the great experts in golf here. I got to take some chances here. Spencer, I know that guy bet against me, so he bet against me and Tambo, and then one of the other ones earlier. So I gotta win you money here. I gotta win you that $20. I'm going to go off the grid here a little bit. Matt Wallace, I believe he is 7,500. So he fits my stat because he had a T2 on the DP World Tour. His finish has improved here each of the last 4 years. Last year was a T27. Likely needs probably inside the top 5 to make the playoffs. And he can routinely spike on approach and on the greens, but can he put it together? He gained 6 on approach and 4 putting at the Valero Texas Open when he finished tied for second. Probably going to need to do that here. He's 60-1 outright or thereabouts, and I'll take him at 75-1 here. And then I'm going to go top of board. I'm going to go Jackson Koiven here. He's 70th. Obviously probably needs a top 20 to really secure himself, just in case a few guys behind him don't go high. So I'm going to roll with Koiven here.
I find it interesting. This was the first time tonight Koiven was selected. I thought he would be more popular, which hasn't been the case. I like Koiven a lot this week, so I'm curious. Let's start with you, Joe. Are you also interested? Obviously, you can't draft him, but are you interested in playing Jackson Koiven this week?
Yeah, man, he's unbelievable, and so much on the line for him this week, being right there at that top 70 mark. There's just a lot to play for. I feel like his game is uniquely qualified to travel to almost any spot on the PGA Tour. I don't think it's a bad pick at all, and it's probably the right price for Jackson Koiven. I give him the second best win equity in the field.
Wow, boom. Eric nailed it. But Joe, you got the next 2 here. You can't have Koiven. You have about 8,900 per pick. So you guys are in very different zones. You don't really have to worry about any competition. How are you rounding out your squad?
Yeah, so I mentioned Koiven has a ton of win equity. I think that Hideki has the third best win equity. So I got to find a guy who I think can win the tournament and put me in the mark there. So I'm going to take Cam Young, 10,400, pay up for him. Try to hunt down the winner here on a guy that obviously is coming back to defend his championship. And that leaves me $7,400. And you know who that leaves me, Spence? That leaves me my guy. And it would make total sense for me to go elsewhere and take the smart pick, but I've got to take Denny McCarthy. He is, you knew it was coming. He's on the roster. He's been my guy forever. We're still waiting on that feature victory for Denny, but he's another player that needs a ton. He needs a great performance this week at the Wyndham Championship. I've had him on my show before. He straight up told me that his favorite course on the PGA Tour schedule is Sedgefield Country Club. He's played well here in the past. He always putts good on Bermuda. This is a type of tournament where putting can actually separate and is a true skill at a place with these tiered greens like Sedgefield. I know I'm making my case for a guy that never wins golf tournaments. Fully aware here, but he's my guy, and I'm going to ride with him to the end.
What I really liked about him in my model is, and we've seen this historically, Sahith Theegala when he won, I don't even know what the name of the tournament was at the time, the Safeway, the Fortinet, whatever it was actually called at the time of his winning it. He saw such an increase in expected proximity for that venue from where the shots were coming from. And one of the things that I noticed when I ran my numbers, McCarthy's like a fringe middle of the pack guy in this field in expected proximity on any generic course on tour. And specifically for this venue, and it may not sound like it's some high-end mark, he jumped into the top 45 names. And that's kind of a very similar answer that Theegala gave right before he got that victory for himself. Number one putter in expectation inside of my model, as you talked about. I do think Bermuda putting has the ability to massively separate yourself from the field at a tournament like this. I wouldn't call it a putting contest necessarily, but what I would say it is, and we've even seen it historically with a player like Lucas Glover, where he's not a good putter, but you get this uptick on Bermuda green complexes. Cameron Young's a good example of that. Cameron Young is a name to where even before he became a better putter that he is today, it was always this uptick that you would get on Bermuda. Same answer comes into play for him here specifically for this course. So I think this is a really strong close. I think both of you guys have done a really good job right now. And as I ask you this question, Eric, for your last pick, I see backstage Byron, Lindeque, and Kenny are going to be drafting. And just naturally with the way that this played out, Kenny is somebody that I need with where the money has come in on this. I don't like what I'm seeing back there. Kenny said he has done no research. I don't know if inside information dropped that I didn't know about, that now all of a sudden, Byron is a bigger favorite than it may have looked on this. I'm going to need a good pick here, Eric. I'm telling you right now, based off of this information I'm hearing. So let's try to close this strongly here.
All right, Spencer, I was down to 2 players for this one. The one I am not going to choose is Billy Horschel, who has a great course history here. The one I am going to choose is 7,400. He is a winner, I believe, 5 tournaments ago, and he's a North Carolina native, and that's JT Poston, who's also won here before. So I have all 6 guys of my 10 that I believe, based on the 5-year trend, that can win. All right, there's some risks here, but you got to love that course history with Poston. He won here in 2019. He was 7th here in 23 and 11th here last year.
This was another epic draft. I mean, this one is as close as I can see. Spencer, does your model, or do you think your model has a lean on either side?
It's going to be very close. Like, I really like Blades Brown, Hideki, Coles, Koiven. Like, Koiven to me is one of the best plays. Like, if I was to try to pull my PGA tout for this week, I would go with Jackson Koiven and call my shot as him as the winner. On the flip side of it, I also have an outright on Ben Griffin. I think Sungjae is one of the smartest plays on the board. Phillips, I'm going to bet to make the cut. Rai, we've seen what he's done here. And Joe ended his lineup with 2 really good course fits here. I don't know. This is, I feel like we keep giving the same answer, Joel. Like, everybody's doing a really good job in these drafts, and it's kind of to be expected because, one, these are the names that have advanced and they have proven themselves to this point. 2, this is a tournament with a lot of rollover predictability, and everybody is doing a good job of finding that value on the board. So I think it's 50-50. I'll ask you the same question.
I agree. I think both teams are really solid. I wouldn't be surprised if either one. For the sake of picking a side, I think I'll add him also before I do. I like how this draft also produced a bunch of more unique names. We had about 4 or 5 guys get drafted here that weren't drafted in previous drafts, and I think they're all really solid plays. So I think that was really – I like the uniqueness of this draft. But I'm going to go with Joe. I'm going to go with Joe mainly because he really sold me at the end here on Denny McCarthy, which he wasn't in my player pool before. I think I'm going to get involved. But I also just like this first kind of 2 picks. I like Sungjae and Ben Griffin a lot. They'll be kind of staples of my player pool. So that's kind of the edge. But, I have to say, I really like Matt Wallace and JT Poston. I just slightly like the top of the board better for Joe. So that's where I'm picking my pick.
I'm putting extra money now on Chandler Phillips to make the cut to try to, if this goes wrong for me in the bets that I've made, I got to be able to pay this off to Brian when he ends up winning this, if he does.
Yep. I like the hedge. If I go 6 for 6, it's going to be because of Chandy.
Yeah.
Well, it's not easy to get to this point of the tournament. You guys have made the Sweet 16. One of you will advance to the Elite 8. You were both legends. You've proved that. To get this far in another solid draft tonight, I wish you both luck. Before we get you out of here, Eric, where can everyone find you, and what's your favorite bet of the week?
All right. Well, I see you guys, I see, former co-host with you guys, Sia Najad, who I work with on the early wedges in the chat. Sia is another legend, and it's always great to work with him. I'm on with him, Patrick McDonald, and Jason Sobel every Tuesday night on the Sportsline YouTube page called The Early Wedge. My favorite bet this week is probably one of the guys that I took. And I can't believe I'm saying this. I'm going to say Ben Coles. And I know he's drifted down, but I think Ben Coles, what we've seen from the Wyndham 3 the last 4 years has been a first-time winner on the PGA Tour and a guy that comes in hot, and Ben Coles is doing just that.
Ben Coles, and do you have it offhand? What's the number for Ben Coles?
I saw it at 45-1 today. It started out somewhere in the 55-1 range that I saw.
Wow, that's a good number. Ben Coles to win. Joe, how about you? Where can everyone find you, and what's your favorite bet of the week?
Yeah, for sure. So I do all my content on behalf of Read the Line Golf. They're the sponsor of my podcast, Preferred Lines, which is a podcast that goes out each and every week covering the PGA Tour event for that current week with the great Jon Haslbauer, of course. And then pick of the week, I'm going to go with the first pick that I took. He's actually part of Eric's team in Hideki Matsuyama. I got in some at 40. I went back at 32-1 even on Hideki. So I'm in twice. So that is my biggest stake of the week, which will be my play of the week.
Boom, lock it in. 2 of the sharpest there is. We super appreciate it, guys. If you don't already, make sure you smash the like button. give them both a follow. You will certainly make more money by doing so. With you both, the best of luck, and we'll see one of you back in the Elite Eight.
Thanks, guys. Good luck, Joe.
Yep. Good
Thank
luck,
you,
Eric.
guys.
See you guys.
All right, Spence, we got one more draft tonight, and I'm going to give everyone a little bit of a tease. So if anyone's following along on X, which you should be, follow us on X. You got all the insights coming. You get Sia and Najad chime in. Sia, we've missed you. How you doing? Sia likes the Coles bet as well. But there's been another wager that's been made here, and it's not a wager on a golfer. It's a wager on the king of the draft itself. Coach Fry in the chat made the wager with Spencer. It's a parlay on these head-to-head matchups. Spencer, break down the bet that you guys made.
Yeah, so I gave him an open board, and I'll bring in Byron and Kenny as we do this. And he had a strong opinion on who he thought was going to advance. He liked Joe, he liked Jon, and he liked Byron. And I told him he could have 6-1 as a parlay if that's what he wanted. And look, I'm not a very good sports book, apparently. He said, I'll take it if you give me 7. And I said, fine, you can take it for 7. And I don't know. I mean, I don't feel great in the spot I'm in right now. I'm going to need you, Kenny. I'm telling you this right now. We're going to have to come up with something strong here to move on to the next round.
So Coach has Byron here and you have Kenny in this last matchup?
Yes.
All right. Coach, feel free to chime in the chat who you want them to take. Let us know your thoughts. There's a lot of action riding on this draft. But we got to get who's going to pick first. So while we go to make that choice, we'll start with you, Byron. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I mean, I was in the lobby a full slate early by accident.
Yeah.
I'll go second.
So your choice. You get enough. Get out of here. We got to go to Kenny because Kenny's the one. And Kenny gets to choose where he gets to go. Trying to steal the pick. I was like, wait a minute.
I just saw my name on the screen. The whole wheel is mine. I'm like, oh, okay, it's me. Off we go.
No. Kenny, I will not allow them to steal that from you. You won fair and square. Kenny won. How you doing tonight?
Byron, what pick did you want? What pick were you going to take when you just tried to snatch it?
Try to take the second pick. 2-3
All
turn.
right. I'll take the first pick. I want the first
Oh,
pick.
I thought you were going to do the opposite. All right, good. Give me a second. They're going to take it.
Give him whatever pick he wants. It is not going to matter.
I also try to get Kenny way too early out of his family diligences. So I was feeding him the wrong times in the chat to let him know when we we're going to go. And it didn't work. So maybe this one works. I've been trying my best to outside Kenny. Yeah.
A lot of gamesmanship on Game of the Draft. Now, will it pay off? To be determined. But Kenny, you basically deferred and allowed Byron to get the second pick, giving you the first. Big pick here. How are you going to start off your draft?
So this is the only pick that I know that I knew coming into this that I was going to make because I haven't placed a single wager for this event. I've slowly kind of started to wind down on the golf front, more so just because I haven't hit an outright in God knows how long. So I'm probably going to place one outright bet this week. So I'm just going to tell you the winner of the tournament right now. I'm sure he's going to be popular, but the answer is Blades Brown. My first pick is Blades Brown.
We've had 2 golfers be declared the winner as the first pick in this draft. It is Blades Brown and Ben Griffin. Both guys I like a lot. So I think both are really solid picks. I know Spencer has already said his model is very high on Blades Brown this week as well. Byron, you have 2 here, but I'd love to get your take. Are you interested in Blades Brown, and would he have been one of your first 2 picks?
Not one of my first 2 picks, but definitely picks 3, 4, 5, or 6. So out of Blades there. So switching Blades to other names will be paramount this week, but I have a Blades Brown top 20 at plus 270. I mean, he's cashed out 5 of the last 7 starts on the PGA Tour, and that's not even including what he's been doing on the Corn Ferry. The guy has a floor that's as high as his armpits, and I think it's a fantastic pick at that price too. Is he going to win? I don't know, but is he going to top 20? I sure as hope so.
I'll make the hottest take that I don't know. I mean, how hot is this take to be perfectly honest? But 10 years from now, Blades Brown will have more accolades than Koiven. And I think Koiven's fucking amazing. But I think if you're buying stock in any young player, I still think Blades Brown's the guy.
Well, he certainly has the name for it. He sounds like he's like starring in the next Netflix show of like it's gonna be Will Ferrell coming out as Blades Brown. But Young, he's coming. I think that is a hot take. I count it. I like that take. But Byron here, have two, and you can take anyone you want other than Blades Brown. Who are your first two picks?
I'm going to go with Cameron Young and Jackson Quaven. I'm going to go
at the top of the board.
Go different, or coach has got me trusting my gut. I'm hungry. I'm hungry for success. I'm hungry like the Wolves. And I think I've got two of them, Jackson Quaven and Cameron Young. I wouldn't be shocked if one of them wins and the other's right behind him. I also wanted to provide some flexibility options for the show. Just the general nature of who's going to be watching. I've got a 60 mid six, whatever range I'm going to need to dive into to make this work. I have a lineup built that bases myself off of these two superstars they check all 7 boxes for me this week. It's the only 2 names that check all 7. Easy scoring conditions, course fit, recent form, course ranking, strokes gained approach, the whole shaboodles. These 2 guys are the two best in the field. So loving this situation, yeah.
I find it interesting that you are the only person that has started a draft like this, and it is not hard to construct a build with where they are priced to be able to get a really efficient team beneath them. I mean, I think a Blades Brown is a really good name that fits into a lineup like that also, which it makes sense why you wanted him.
Exactly.
Yeah, we'll have to make an adjustment to the team. But, I've got 5 other options. We'll figure it out as we go. Love Blades this week.
Yeah, from a game theory perspective, when you have to beat one person, honestly, Kenny, I looking back on this, and I never had a choice of what happened because you got the number 1 pick in that draft and you took Scotty off the board. But I felt that entire week like I was trying to play catch up to you, and I was never able to do so. And I know Scotty did not end up winning it. He lost in the playoff to Victor. Very strong when you start at the top, as you know. I mean, you ended up taking me out of the contest from that. So not going to be able to take those 2 this week at the very top. You do have a really good list underneath, though, for whatever names you want to go to. Who are you going to take with these next 2 picks?
I'm trying to think who else in this mid-range that Byron has circled now that he has these guys. Who in this range?
I've left my ribcage open, so come at me, baby. Let's go.
I'm gonna shoot my shot. This is gonna be one of your mid guys, but give me Chris Kirk.
It would be close. I was definitely contemplating him while I was putting this together. He's a fantastic value option. Fantastic.
I mean, Kirk is the last 3 weeks is the best that we've seen Kirk consistently hit it in probably 3 years. He's coming off the 3 best approach rounds that he's had in quite some time. He took 5th here last year. When it's coming, it's coming. I think Chris Kirk is on a bit of a heater right now. I think you got to just ride the ship.
Yeah, I had Thor Bjornsson last week. Kenny, have not hit a lot of outrights myself. That's one of the ones I got across the finish line. And going into Sunday, I kind of thought Kirk was going to win that tournament. So it feels like another good spot for him to be able to continue the form. Who are you going to take with the next pick?
Man, I really don't love anybody else towards the super top of this list here. But I think if I want to just go, give me guaranteed points, steady Eddie, just give me Gerard. I'll take Ryan Gerard.
Ooh. It was interesting. Gerard was the very first pick of the night in the first draft, and then was not taken again until just now. I thought he was going to be more popular. I think Gerard's an interesting take this week. Seems to be a mixed bag. Some people absolutely love him, but maybe not on some others' radar. Byron, I would love to get your take. Is Ryan Gerard a guy? Obviously, you probably wouldn't have taken him in this build, but he's someone who'll be in your player pool this week.
Not a lot of him, to be honest with you. I find the price tag of $9,300 a little spendy. I've got him ranked 18th this week, so $9,300 is a bit spendy in my opinion. He leads the field in the last 2 months strokes gained, so obviously there's form. It's been a lot of putter, and he's been hanging in there with the putter. So this is a week that you have to putt well, and he's obviously got that going on. And then Chris Kirk doing what he's doing, and he hit 2 shanks last week.
Yep.
2 cold-hearted shanks.
Beautiful.
And Buddy is just hanging in there with the shankle doodles in the background of his brain. So if he can get that cleared out there, I think he's got a fantastic. I really like, Kenny's team outside of Gerard really so far. So that may be the dagger that actually the true blade that ends my week.
All right, Byron. Well, now you have two more. Obviously, you're gonna have to find some value. So I guess the first question is: did you say was Kirk a steal, or were you going in a different direction?
Not a steal. Very much contemplated him though while putting it together. I needed like 7,100 ish to make my plays work, and Kirk was just a little too spendy in that department. So I'll go with my two cheapest guys to start, and then I'm kind of cool putting around at the upper sevens, lower eights. So give me Matt Kuchar at $6,500. He's gaining 0.4 strokes on the field here over the last 2 months as well, which is all you need for someone playing this kind of golf. He's made the cut here every single time he's played in the last 4 tournaments. He is $6,500. When people were struggling to find a guy down bottom to click in earlier slates, I was screaming from the studio there, click Matt Kuchar, people. I mean, got him ranked 32nd in the model. Love what's going on with Matt Kuchar right now. Steady Eddie doing his thing. And then give me Billy Horschel. I mean, I'm going with 2 thoroughbreds of this venue, 2 guys that really thrive in these conditions. Billy Horschel doing his thing in the last 2 months, playing some great golf right as we're getting to Bermuda season. We saw how passionately Billy spoke about the nuances of Bermuda grass and how, Floridians really thrive in those conditions, and they grew up there. And then when they overseed it, he gets pissed off because it takes the nature of the golf course away. This is a true Bermuda test this week, and the grass is thick and it's fun. So I think Billy Horschel's got a fantastic chance of, just playing some good golf. Super cheap, $7,100. Now I've got some spare change to throw around you.
Kenny, any thoughts on Billy Horschel?
I love Billy Ho. Again, I feel like I took a couple of position shots on him. I'm trying to think when I was on him. But I know the game has been there, and I've always just been a fan of his. I think one of my favorite things that stood out was when, I think it was the year after he won the Memorial. The following year, I think that Thursday he went out and he shot 88 or something like that. Literally just his game was trending terribly going into it. And then he literally just, it was check me on this, Byron, but it was an 88. It was something completely atrocious. Yeah. He pretty much kind of broke down, very, very honest and vulnerable post round, just ate it in front of all the cameras. And I think came out the next day and shot 66. And it was just all right, I'll be a Billy Ho guy going forward. So always rooted for him.
Yeah. And he's been fantastic in TGL. He needs to be a Ryder Cup captain. That kind of a guy. I don't know what,
I can see it. I can see that.
Throwing that out there.
Down the road.
He'll never play in a Ryder Cup, but he needs to captain it. I think that would have been a fantastic, option instead of freaking Keegan. Anyway, tangent there.
I will add, I always say Billy Horschel looks like Christian Bale / Batman. So, The Dark Knight.
A little bit. A little bit.
Stretch. You're not buying it. Well, he's off the board either way. Kenny, you got 2. Where you go from here?
I know I got some salary to fill here. Just give me Hideki. I don't really think I need to go into it too much. The dude has just been unreal. I could have waited to take him last. I knew Byron wasn't taking him after he let off with Koivu and Scam. But give me Hideki. And then, dude, this is just the God speaking to me purely on vibes. I just think the narratives have come home as of late. Jackson Koivu getting his native win, Thor Burnson coming back next week, and I think everyone's trying to get on the bet the kids. And look, I'm betting Blades Brown, so I agree with that. But I think what would be some end of regular season spice, I think we're long overdue for a little bit of Jordan Spieth magic on a Sunday. I don't think he's not winning this tournament, but I think Spieth is absolutely in the mix on Sunday for the first time in a while, and the ratings on Monday are going to be out of this world.
The first time Spieth has come off the board tonight, which is interesting. 8K Jordan Spieth off the board. I think the other interesting factor here is, Byron, you have 2, and you guys are very much so in the same salary range for these last 3 picks. So will you be competing for the same golfer? Will there be a steal to be determined? Byron, you have your last 2 to round up the squad here. Who are you taking?
Big on Decky, not in on Jordan Spieth whatsoever this week. So that's something we'll have to deal with. Moving to my guys, Ben Coles and Mac Masner will be my 2 picks to round out my little team here. Mac Masner ranks 3rd in my model this week. He's got fantastic form here. He is a freak show in easy scoring conditions. So he's got a lot of good things we need. And there's going to be like 0 wind, and the conditions look super soft out there. It's been raining all week, and it's just not going to get any softer than that. So what he does well, he finds fairways. Both of these guys. Ben Coles, by the way, the best iron player in the field for me, and the best accuracy finder in all of driving. So and he's going to be hitting driver for the most part. Anyway, he's not a very long driver of the ball. So this is like a perfect setup for Ben Coles. I called him FedEx on my show earlier, from Cheaper by the Dozen. He's just kind of the guy I want, like the 6th guy in my lineup, the 7th child of a family. You won't even know he's missing for a while, but then he's going to show up there on Sunday and like just have saved the day and finish like 3rd for me. So that's how I'm hoping Ben Coles comes home.
I'm going to take it back to the Mac Meisner thing really fast. I like the Coles pick that you made. Like, my Discord chat, Byron, is thoroughly convinced that I'm either related to Mac Meisner or we have something, because every single week, I know you said he's 3rd in your model, I believe. This is an every week occurrence for me. There is not a turn. Yeah, it's every single week he finds himself inside of the top 5. And it was actually funny yesterday. Like, I've put him in all his like Mac pimp outfits where he's walking around with all the girls for my articles, and his father's been liking some of the posts that I've been making about Mac, and so he's kind of been on top of it with everything. So I'm going to keep rooting for Mac. For anybody out there that's been following, I think I've bet him for 10 straight tournaments, and I do not have an outright on him this week, and this very well may be where he ends up winning because of that reason. That's kind of very consistent with what this year's looked like before the Thorbjornsen thing, but you're never going to hear negative words from me about Meisner.
Let's go. Mac Daddy all the way home. Let's get it.
And Byron, this is either going to be a serious mic drop, or it's going to be a hilarious pie in the face that I'm going to eat forever on Gambling Golf Twitter. But I'm going to fire this in like a mega GPP. So you want to differentiate, right? I'll tell you this. You can keep the change. Give me Luke Clanton, 6,900. We'll leave it there.
Oh, let's go, man.
Wow, leaving the most on the table that we've seen this draft, but I think that's totally fine head to head. No issues there. I like taking a stance and going to get your guy.
Let's get a little weird. Let's just get a little weird.
Spence, let's go back to you. I mean, I know you haven't run the numbers, but based on your eyeball, which squad does your model like the most?
Byron's easily.
Yeah, it's probably Byron's. I mean, just because Matt Meisner's in the top 5, Young and Koiven are 1 and 2 for me. I do really like the Blades Brown, Chris Kirk. I bet Ryan Gerard. I kind of went very aggressive towards the top of the board. I thought Jordan Spieth showed something last week. I did a lot of in-tournament bets against him. I got very lucky to win those. Like in round 2, I had Jacob Bridgman, and I think Spieth fired 4 under, and Bridgman was able to get that bet across the finish line. So I wouldn't necessarily say any of those fades were good on Jordan. I know he kind of stepped back a little bit over the final 2 days, but yeah, it's anything with Meisner is always going to push up the board for me, though, Joel.
Oh, I think this is a great draft. I, too, am going to go with Byron in this one. I think it's close. Kenny, I still like your team, but I'm going to lean Byron's here for my pick. I wish you both luck. I said anything can happen. It's a head-to-head draft. One of you will advance to the Elite 8. You two are both absolute legends of the space. If you don't already, make sure you give both of them a follow. You will certainly make more money by doing so. Before you get you both out of here, Kenny, please tell everyone where they can find you and what's your favorite bet of the week.
You can find me at Kilkenny on Twitter. I'm in the YouTube chat as well. Sup, I just said. Sup. But it's that username virtually every single social, and I'll be placing probably one bet this week, and it's going to be a Blades Brown outright, and it's going to be heavy.
Would you place Blades Brown head to head over Jackson Koiven?
For the right price, sure. I imagine that market's got to exist. Like when they handpick some of these matchup markets, I feel like this is one people would want, and Blades would have to be pretty juiced up in that, I would imagine. Correct?
I would imagine it's probably like plus 170, plus 180 or something like that.
That might be a fun little addition.
Oh, I like it. I like it. How about you, Byron?
I am going to share, obviously, a placement bet. You want to do a Chandler Phillips ladder with me this week, friends? We can go Chandler Phillips, top 30 plus 310, top 20 plus 540, top 10 for 12.5 to 1, and a top 5 at 30 to 1. he's like built for this golf course when it comes to his golf game. And these numbers are ludicrous. I didn't bet him outright because he was like 230 to 1. I should have. It's probably going to come back to bite me, but I'm going to win 10 units if he just top fives based off of these numbers. It's only risking 1 unit. So
I love Chandler Phillips, dude. I'm a big fan of his top tier stash when that thing is flowing. And motivated guy too. I think he's sitting 90 in FedEx Cup points right now, so he needs a serious leap if he wants to play next week.
Yeah,
But
I was
Byron,
Yo,
no, I was just going to say very quickly, can I add one more bet to that ladder for you?
yes.
Chandler Phillips to make the cut at plus 105.
Oh, I love it.
I think play it all the way across the board, all the way from wherever you want on it.
Okay, let's party, man. I will add that to the card, Spencer, microscopically, since we already heavily invested in the Phillips. But I was walking around, whoever he was playing with, I was watching, I had investment in, and Chandler Phillips was playing alongside him. And Mrs. Phillips, soon to be Mrs. Phillips, was talking about if he makes the FedEx Cup playoffs, what the wedding plans will be and how they're going to change. So it was quite the conversation just to be I was literal a big old fly on the wall there, listening to them talk about wedding planning stuff. So hoping Chan Man can make Mrs. Phillips' future dreams come through there with a FedEx Cup playoffs appearance.
Cool. I love it. I love it. Byron, where can everyone find you?
My street address is no, I'm just kidding. At the Model Maniac, pretty much everywhere. Go check out my Patreon account, the Model Maniac Patreon out there. YouTube channel Back 9 Bits is my little personal situation that we'll be doing some tinkering with. While I was on my bike, I was going to do some more stuff on there, so that'll be added on soon. And then maybe Spence and I can chat about it later. But in the Discord is always a nice place to find me over there in the Model Maniac Discord.
Well, as I said, I really meant it when I said it. You will certainly make more money by following the both of these two. It's not easy to get this far in the golf madness. We're in the Sweet 16. One of you will advance to the Elite 8. I wish you both the best of luck. Thank you for coming on, and hopefully we'll see you soon.
Catch you later.
Spence, thanks for putting this together again. And Byron, good luck to you, brother.
To you too, Kenny. That was fun.
Yeah. Peace out, guys.
Bye,
Thank
boys.
you guys. Appreciate it.
All right, Spence, that's a wrap for tonight. Before we get everyone out of here, Spence, I want to ask you, do you feel good about the chances of, now you're the house of King of the Draft, do you think you're going to win, or are you paying out?
I think I'm losing $140 here.
Wow. Well, we got to congratulate Coach, but follow along. Listen, you want to following the matchups, follow along on the house bets in the book as well. It's going to be a lot of excitement this week. These are all some really solid drafts. Each matchup was really exciting. I am excited to see who comes out of this and advances to the Elite 8 next week. What else did I forget tonight, Spence?
Thank you for everybody who's tuned in. I like the one thing I do want to see as far as the bet is concerned is there any overlap on players, or do I have any players that I need one spot and not in the other spot? Because like that's the one way here for me that I think that I can get a little bit lucky and potentially get across the finish line if, I don't know if there's some corollary mark between names, but a Blades Brown who Kenny has, and all of a sudden Blades Brown is on somebody's team that I'm trying to fade. If he wins the tournament or if he comes in last and misses the cut, there's some good outcomes for me there that could potentially work itself out. But look, I've been trying to throw bets out there this entire time. Did win a little bit of money. Unfortunately, it came against my girlfriend who had to pay me $100 when I bet against myself in my round. So my goal right now is to be the second most profitable person in this tournament. I'll be eliminated in the first round and won't get any money from the real contest here, which we will still announce what the payouts are over the next couple of weeks. But we've talked about it. There's going to be a comma in it. Somebody's going to win some amount of money that's going to be nice to be able to send to them just as a thank you for participating. And big shout out to LEVR once again for sponsoring this show. Without them, we would not be able to put on this contest and give away the money that we want. We have a sick championship belt that's going to take place. So if you're not doing so already, please check out LEVR. They have a great concept that they put together. It's a different take on the sports betting world, and it's something that I think is going to really grow for them over the next couple of years. So check it out if you haven't already.
That's it. Good luck this week, and we'll see you.